Some late-breaking news on this idea that Donald Trump might be able to get together a meeting with Vladimir Putin as early as next week, and that would include Vladimir Zelensky. Apparently, Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has been there. Joining me now to discuss this and more, Sky News contributor Kosha Garda and past chair of Parliament's Foreign Affairs and Defence Committee and Peter Credlin regular Michael Danby. Michael, there seems to be some optimistic view that this meeting might take place. I mean, when you think about the history of this, where, you know, Zelensky went to Istanbul and Putin didn't even turn up, how confident are you that Donald Trump might be able to pull this off?
Well, I think it's great that the Russians apparently made positive sounds after Witkoff left. If this happens, it'll be a great victory for the president's determination to resupply the Ukrainians with military equipment and to put sanctions on people that buy Russian oil. Vladimir, you better not let the Donald down, because he doesn't like being double-crossed. It'd be great if they get this meeting. It would have to mean a ceasefire in place, and Ukrainian citizens all across that vast country wouldn't be being killed by Russian missiles every night, and the Russians would get sanctions relief from the United States. So it's positive, but let's hope there's no KGB trickery from that old KGB spinmeister Vladimir Putin.
Kosha, I was listening to watching Sky today, and there was the Ukrainian ambassador to Australia talking about how just last night a Russian missile hit an apartment block in Kyiv, 32 people dead. We don't even hear about that very much anymore. This would be outstanding. How, if Trump pulls this off, how is that going to? How's history going to see him if he pulls this off?
I think, he's been nominated now for the Peace Prize by various people. Some people joke about that, but I really think that these are all brick by brick he is building towards trying to reduce or minimize or mitigate these conflicts. We do have a long way to go. While the signals coming out of Russia are positive after Steve Witkoff's meeting yesterday, the fundamentals remain very, very difficult. Obviously, on the Ukrainian side, they want more security guarantees, which Trump has been reluctant to do. The base does not support that too much back home. And then on the Russian side, they are saying they do not want to give in to any concessions, territorial gains and all of that as well, which is another sticking point. So we'll see how that goes. There's still a lot of wood to chop. But if anybody can broker a peace deal, it is Trump. He's aware that the clock is ticking, and if he can pull this off, history will judge him favorably for the role that he's playing here.
On that, Michael, I mean, Trump will get the kudos, but obviously this Witkoff bloke is a hell of a negotiator. I mean, Trump hired him, put him in his executive and sent him off around the world to try and solve some of the world's worst problems. I mean, he's the guy that perhaps should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize rather than the president.
Oh, I think he's very much a real estate mate of the presidents from New York. He's apparently a tough talker. His first visits to meet Putin and in Russia were a bit embarrassing, actually. He got the names of all of the places in Ukraine and Western Russia wrong. But anyhow, whatever it takes, as long as the Ukrainian people are not being killed every night in their homes and the casualties at the front cease, there's actually a plan for a ceasefire in place, which means the Russians get to keep the ruined part of the Donbass, Luhansk and Donetsk that they've conquered, but they don't get any more. They don't get the rest of those provinces, but the killing stops. So that's what President Trump's been on about. Whatever you think about the bloke, if he does this, it's fantastic. And many of the other things he's been doing around the world in international affairs shows that he's got more realism now than he had in the beginning, and he's using American power. Peace with strength.
Kosha, I mean, it makes the idea of a meeting between Anthony Albanese and the president probably further down the track than ever. Andrew Hastie's warned about that. I mean, he thinks that the Prime Minister, probably doesn't want to sit down face-to-face with Donald Trump yet because, Trump's a formidable figure. The UN meeting's going to be crucial to that when it happens in September. That would appear to be Anthony Albanese's best chance of getting into the ear of Donald Trump.
It would appear so. The Prime Minister is not coming across as somebody who is grabbing the bull by the horns and trying to get out front with securing a meeting and really negotiating terms, whether they be on trade, whether they be on military cooperation, etc. But yes, I think you're right, Steve, that meeting with the Australian Prime Minister is probably quite far down on the pecking order for all the other bigger fish to fry that Trump has right now. But the position of Australia is still interesting and will always be interesting to the United States because of the proximity to China. You saw these joint exercises that Russia and China did. That is no coincidence with the backdrop of the peace negotiations that we just talked about. So there is a role to play here that I think Australia uniquely can fulfill. And the sooner the Prime Minister tries to get on the front foot, I think the better for everybody.
Michael, you've got a passionate interest in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing for full occupation of Gaza, and according to reports, Israel's security cabinet is set to approve that plan. That's not going to look good.
No, it's not. They're left with a very difficult choice. We were so close to getting a ceasefire 2 weeks ago until those bozos, Wong, Starmer and Macron, called for an unconditional ceasefire, and it meant that Hamas just stiffened its terms and walked away. So the Israelis are left there. They can't abandon Hamas and abandon the hostages, as Penny Wong suggested, but they're left with occupying Gaza, or the Chief of Staff wants to surround some of those areas rather than actually go in. But it's a very difficult dilemma, and the international media campaign against them has been absolutely successful, as we've seen by the huge number of people that were on the bridge.
Kosher, the Donald's been asked about who's likely to replace him as the Republican nominee for 2028. He's apparently talked about Marco Rubio. How do you rate that versus perhaps JD Vance?
It is so early to say, Steve. As we know, a week is a lifetime in politics, and we've got 3 years to go here, so we've got thousands of twists and turns left to go. But Marco Rubio, he is interesting because he originally was not the most pro-populist, pro-MAGA when Trump first broke out onto the political scene. He was an ally, but he still was seen as sort of from the establishment wing. And he seems to have really come around and embraced this platform. So I think he's a rising star, but right now JD Vance seems to be in pole position.
Yeah, long way to go. Kosher, Michael, great to see you as usual.